What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crocker and Cohn. I'm Cohn. That's Crocker. It's kind of a weak name for a show. I didn't know what to call it. It kind of sounds like a law firm or like a pretentious bourbon bar in San Francisco, but that's what we're going with. Anyway, good to see you, Croc. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm chilling. Good to see you too.
So I want to talk about what it means when a quarterback is or isn't ready, because it pisses me off. Like some analyst will come out and just say, like, look, I don't care what anyone thinks. I say Trey Lance isn't ready, and they'll just leave it at that. Like, what the fuck does ready mean? And no one defines it. So I'm asking you, man, you played in the league. What the fuck does ready mean when it comes to a quarterback?
That's the $1 million question. What I'm assuming, just based on the context that people use it, is Trey Lance ready to lead a team to a championship? Is Trey Lance ready to lead a team to the Super Bowl? That's the only thing I could take from it, because if you're talking about any other rookie quarterback, I don't think they've been any more or less ready than Trey Lance. Matter of fact, most people would say what he did in his second start against Houston, not the best of teams, but a solid opponent defensively, what they did down the stretch, that was better than most of the other guys' performances, especially early in the season, especially for a guy who only had 2 weeks of starting reps throughout the entire year. So what does it exactly mean? Not quite sure. I'm assuming if you have Tom, is he ready to do what Tom Brady could do to lead a team to a championship? We would all say no. I think that means he's not, quote unquote, ready.
But that's a really unfair definition of ready. Like, by that definition, there's 10 quarterbacks in the world who are ready to play for the 49ers, and Jimmy Garoppolo isn't one of them. Has proven it. He's had multiple chances to win a Super Bowl with this team. Can't freaking do it. Literally cannot win a Super Bowl with this team. So he's not ready either. I think that this whole definition of ready thing is bogus. I think it's basically, I don't want to say
it's lazy. It's very lazy analysis.
It's lazy.
It's easy to push the narrative because that was what a lot of them thought heading into the season. But I'm going to use a few examples of some people who thought Trey Lance wouldn't be, quote unquote, ready, but kind of changed their tune once training camp started. Once this guy named Grant Cohn called him a running back, said he looked like Tim Tebow.
It's true.
And more athletic,
I was not impressed when I looked at his resume the first time. I was like, are you kidding me?
You saw him live?
Yep.
And the first thing you said was, he's better. Well, the
best quarterback I've ever seen on this practice field. Best quarterback I've ever seen on that practice field.
You said he was the best. You said he was better than any rookie that you had seen, including Colin Kaepernick and these other guys, right? But you weren't the only one. I listened to a lot of Matt Maiocco throughout the offseason. He was another guy that was pushing the Mac Jones train hard. The moment he saw Trey Lance in training camp, he was blown away and was like, oh, wow. This is some of the best quarterback I've seen from anybody to come in. So, now you got Adam Schefter coming in and saying, oh, he's greener than they thought. Well, how green is it? Because all these other people who were not as high on him before seeing him said he walked in and was like, hey, this is the future. This is the guy. He's terrific. Maiocco, he's further along in the process than I thought he would have been. And then now we're hearing different conflicting reports from national report guys or whatever.
Yeah. Look, to me, it's unfortunate. You say it's lazy. What's unfortunate is it seems like people only say this about black quarterbacks. Am I wrong? When was the last white quarterback came in? He's just not ready. All those physical gifts, they're great. But in this league, you're going to have to use, and it's going to take them. It's like you always hear that with the really gifted. You're hearing it right now with Malik Willis. I don't even know that kid that well. But everyone's like, so gifted. He's just a little unrefined. It's going to take it because he's black? What are you talking about? And then you have a guy like Zach Wilson, who had no resume coming out of BYU, and everyone's like, hey, man, let him start week. Give him the freaking team. And any struggle he had throughout the year is like, hey, what's, learning experience, Jets suck, not his fault. Come on.
There was a game where Zach Wilson, I looked at the score in the third quarter. He had 4 interceptions and 4 completions in the third quarter, and you don't really hear about it.
He was ready.
But he's more ready than Trey Lance. I don't want to pull out, the race card or anything like that. But
that's why I did it. That's why I did it. I didn't want you to do it.
But historically, there has been a different context that they use pertaining to black quarterbacks, and even before. And that was a lot of the reason why it was hard for black quarterbacks to kind of break into the NFL and why you didn't see as much. I'd say as of late, you see a lot of really good quarterbacks coming to the league, but I do think they come in with a different narrative. And they kind of have to prove that they can play before they kind of get the praise, as opposed to some other guys
Play a
who
certain
get more
way,
the benefit
Eric.
of the doubt.
They have to play a certain way, right? The right way. To play the
Yeah.
right way. What does that mean? I want to say something real quick. Everyone writes off that start that he had against Houston. It's just Houston. I went through all of Houston's schedule, all the quarterbacks that played against him. I mean, Lance put up better numbers than every single quarterback in the league that played Houston, except for Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray. Better numbers than Darnold, Justin Herbert, Tannehill, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones. He put up better numbers than all of those guys against that team. So, I don't know. I think he's ready, man. That's my
Here's another
opinion.
thing.
Yeah.
So, obviously we have a small sample size, but I did a little bit of math. All right. And if you take his 2.5 games that he played and multiply that over a 17-game season and just say, hey, if he does it consistently, even if you drop off a couple hundred yards here and there or whatever, but just off of those numbers, his season would be 4,100 passing yards, 1,100 rushing yards, 34 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, 17 interceptions. So we're talking about over 5,000 yards of offense, 40 touchdowns, 17 picks. And again, I'm not saying that he would do that. And I'm not even saying he's ready or whatever. But in the sense of how green they try to say he is or how he can't play, when you average his numbers out over 2.5 games, the numbers show that he's at the very least competitive.
He's ready. Yeah, and they say like the team's too good to turn it over to someone so inexperienced. I think that's like the wrong logic. The way I look at it is the team is so good that makes him even more ready. How can he fail? He's got Deebo. He's got Kittle. Zach Wilson doesn't have anything like that. It's all on Zach in New York. So I think the ready scale should be even lower for Trey Lance out here. That's the way I look at it. Dude is ready. Ready. All right, next question.
I think he's ready. I think he's ready to start and win games. How far does that take you? And again, that's up to Kyle Shanahan on what he thinks. If he thinks like, well, I gotta win a Super Bowl, then he's probably gonna be thinking more Tom Brady than Trey Lance. But if he feels like, hey, I can win games and we're gonna figure this out along the way, which most guys do with young quarterbacks, then I think you instill that confidence in your young guy that, hey, it's okay to have these little ups and downs. We're going to work through it together and we're going to win games. If you looked at it that way, they'd be a playoff team, I think, without a doubt.
See, I'm with you with Brady, but I just don't think the Niners can go after Aaron Rodgers because he hasn't been in a Super Bowl in a long time, and that must mean he's not ready to play for the 49ers. Rodgers, I don't know. Sorry.
He's not ready.
He's not ready, Aaron Rodgers. All right, next topic. I saw you tweeting about, I was going through your timeline and seeing what you were thinking about the last few days, and I like this a lot about you. You are a cornerback who is all about pass rush over coverage, and I think that's so interesting. To me, I was always coverage over pass rush, and I've modified it to they're both really important. I mean, you need both. So I think the Niners definitely have the pass rush. It's questionable how good their corners are. They're solid. How big of a need is cornerback in your eyes for the Niners?
I don't think it's a need. I do believe that you can upgrade at the position. Like if you were to say, hey, we got a guy right here, we 100% can upgrade over whatever you got from Ambry Thomas. Or if you're saying, all right, we could get Sauce Gardner, let's get like, okay, you won't hear any complaints from me. But in the sense of, I think the jump that fans think you'll make from a coverage standpoint by maybe adding a guy, I don't agree. I think the 49ers play good complementary football, regardless of who was in the secondary, including sorry-ass Josh Norman. I think they really should kind of set I don't want to say the standard for how people should view the cornerback position, but they haven't made it a big priority. But even then, statistically, 6th best pass defense as far as yards allowed. In the playoffs, they played against 3 offensive juggernauts, the Dallas Cowboys, highest scoring offense in the league, highest yards per game in the league, 17 points. Played against the Packers, cold weather, 10 points. Played against the Rams in the playoffs. Okay, you gave up 100 yards to 2 receivers, but their lowest point total throughout the entire playoffs, and it took everything in them to even reach 20 points. So I think in the sense of 49ers, are the outside guys great? No. But I think they did a lot better from a production standpoint in the sense of limiting opposing offenses than they get credit for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Ambry's solid. Emmanuel Mosley might be better than solid. K'Wan's solid. And with that front seven, that pass rush, that's pretty much all you need. Although, I guess it's all you need to be really good in the regular season to have a top 6 ranked pass defense. But I guess my question is, to win the Super Bowl,
You got to score more than 20 points.
Yeah. Well, let's look at it this way. In the NFC Championship game, there was also that pass that what's his name, Skoranek dropped in the end zone. So to me, that the secondary performance was pretty spotty in that one game. They were excellent before then. And one thing that bothers me about the secondary is the way D'Amico uses them.
When you play other good teams, you're gonna be spotty, right? Because it's good on good. It's extremely difficult to dominate. Hey, the 49ers defense in 2012 was one of the most dominant defenses we've seen, especially from the 49ers. And there was 30 plus points dropped on them by Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the best of teams, you're gonna have some little laps, regardless of how good everybody is. And maybe some of that can go to Chris Culliver, but like, you got to figure it out offensively, especially in the biggest moments. And I put more of the blame on the 49ers offense, not helping a defense that's hanging in there. We're giving you an opportunity to win. We're holding this team to far less than their average offense. For us to win the Super Bowl, you got to go above what you've done throughout these playoffs, which really 49ers offense was kind of crappy. And I think that was the biggest issue as far as the 49ers not achieving the ultimate goal.
Well, okay, all right. Allow me to retort here. This is a good argument. So as good as the Niners defense was, especially against the pass, they were 20th and third down conversion percentage allowed, which is lower than they should be for a team with such a good front seven and pass rush. And I think a lot of it is how D'Amico uses the corners. We talked about this, but he's very conservative with Ambry Thomas and Emmanuel Moses. Lines them way off and basically concedes first downs up and down the field as long as they don't give up the big play. I would like a corner that you would feel a little more confident with. Because once you finally got to play Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp, they were on their heels, I felt, most of the game. And that's just one opponent, but still, you got to go through them.
I wonder if that's the issue. Is he not as confident, or maybe his scheme or whatever? I do think early on there was definitely this sense of protecting the outside guys, especially with Josh Norman out there going to much more too high shells, things like that. But the crazy thing about Ambry Thomas, he's a press corner. He's a press man guy. Like, that was all he did at Michigan. He was not an off coverage guy. And Kyle has talked about, hell, man, what I saw in preseason and all that, I would have never thought we'd be here. Well, yeah, because y'all been playing him off, and that's not what he's known to do. He's trying to adjust to fit the style of play y'all want him to do, as opposed to y'all saying, you know what? He's much better doing this. Let's play him that way, and let's see if we have more success. And you probably would.
All I'm saying is I don't think you need a shutdown cornerback. I don't even know what a shutdown cornerback is. It's so hard to play the position. Everything's a pass interference penalty. But when Robert Saleh had Jason Verrett, not even a shutdown corner, but a legit top 5-10 guy, you can see how that really changed what he could do. I mean, he wasn't lining up Jason Verrett 9 yards off and saying, just don't give up the big play. It was much more aggressive. It allowed him to call all kind of different blitzes and stuff. If you have one guy like that, it does make things easier, especially if you know you got to go through Cooper Kupp. I don't know if they're going to get Jason Verrett. That was kind of found money. So I don't know if you can do it, but it seems to me like you need one good corner and you can't have any liability. You need 3 solid guys and one guy that's good at least. I don't know. And I don't know if the Niners have that guy who's good. They have 3 solid dudes in my opinion.
I think Mosley is good.
All right. I like Mosley. I wish he would stay healthy, and I wish D'Amico would let him get up in dudes' faces because he's pretty good at it.
Here's what they need. Some guys need experience. Ambry Thomas, right? In the Super Bowl, they ran a cover 2 near the goal line. And, you have to understand what you're reading, right? You're reading 2-1, and you understand that you have the flats, right? So as you have a vertically pushing route, especially on 3rd and long, you can sink underneath the corner, show at least body presence, and force the underneath throw. Well, Ambry Thomas stayed a little too shallow, allowed an easy
throw. That was 3rd down, right?
That was 3rd down. Now, you could say maybe Stafford would have tried to throw it regardless. Right. But at the very least, if you show body presence there, he should check down to the flat route. Now you just come up and make a tackle. I think that those are things that Ambry Thomas should improve on as he gets more comfortable with what it is that they want and different things that happen against him. But I'd say that was an issue in that game. I don't think that that's something that he can't improve on heading into his sophomore season.
Zone eyes, right? And I think Emmanuel Mosley had the same issue on the Skoranek one where he dropped it. They both went to Kupp on the out route, and Skoranek ran the post against, cover 4, and there was no one covering him. Spun around Mosley. Yeah, I don't know.
That's like Deommodore Lenoir. Lenoir against Green Bay. There were a couple plays where it's like that was rookie mistakes. One on a touchdown where they had 2 ends, and there was a corner route behind it. He squeezed it in just enough instead of sinking back for Aaron Rodgers to get it right over his hand. Another one was late in the game. Everybody's like, oh, why didn't they double in Devontae Adams? Well, they did. It was supposed to be
did.
a 2-man bracket, but Diamador Lenore just played it wrong. He was on top instead of underneath in the trail where he had a safety right over top, which was Hufanga. Now, some of the blame could be put on the defensive coordinator for having those guys on them in that situation, as opposed to having Emmanuel Mosley on them, who knows more what to do. But those are things that rookies kind of have to go through, and you take your lumps being a rookie. It's just tough.
This guy says, Cohn and Croc, let's rock. What's up, fams? Again, we need a good quarterback in addition to what we have. We need to jam wide receivers, also scheme better, need O-line too. Yeah, Croc's saying be more aggressive with the corners you have. Give them the
I would.
Have more confidence in them. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yep.
All right, same topic. Give me one cornerback you think the Niners should get this offseason, whether it's free agency, trade, draft, whatever.
So there are a couple guys here that I think could fit. One, Steven Nelson. He's been playing kind of on different teams. He played well with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he's a guy who could play outside as well as nickel. And if the 49ers are going to lose Kwan Williams, Steven Nelson, that's a guy that they should go look to target to at the very least compete for an outside job or a nickel spot with some of the younger guys the 49ers have. And then another
that's
guy,
a Niner type corner because you can get it. He's basically, off the scrap heap. That's perfect for them.
Right, off the scrap heap. Then another one, Chandran Sullivan. He's another one off of the scrap heap, but came in late. I think he was on someone's practice squad. Ended up playing for Green Bay. Did an excellent job. Ended up damn near being a shutdown corner. He's kind of slated to be a free agent. I don't think he's going to cost a ton of money. I still don't think that if you sign him, you give up on Ambry Thomas. I think you let them compete. But Chandran Sullivan, that's a guy that I would look to target as well.
So you're looking 1-year deals, cheap, like nothing too much. Okay.
Because I want to give my Ambry Thomas. I feel like you can be a starter, but I'm not 100% sold. So I'm going to bring somebody in to compete with you to see, hey, you're either going to raise your game or you're going to let this guy beat you out. And if you beat him, he beats you out. I know I need to really address the cornerback position come the following offseason.
What about Josh Jackson, says Bay Area Baller 18?
Nah, I never liked him.
Never liked him. What do you like about him?
Well, he's a pure off cover 3 type guy. And if you have any, I think he does a really good job with his zone eyes, reading 2-1, some of the best that I've seen. But when he was playing at Iowa, it was so I just sit off, I read these concepts, and he did a good job making plays on the ball. But with the 49ers, and they run a lot of quarters, that damn near turns into man. And if they play some man as well in press, that wasn't a strong suit of him as either. So I kind of stay away from Josh Jackson. Maybe as a flyer, if you want to bring him in and say, hey, maybe he just randomly gets it together. Yeah. Then all right. But I would wait.
And you're talking about, Steven Nelson's a bit of a flyer too. These are 1-year deal guys. I'm gonna name some other guys. Like what about?
Real quick. My guy Jamal said it. Rasul Douglas. That's what I was thinking about. Not Sullivan. I was thinking about Rasul Douglas as a guy that was on the practice squad, came in late, played extremely well, had interceptions. It was Douglas, not Sullivan. My apologies.
That's all good. I'll edit this later. What about Jason Verrett?
Yeah. I think if you look at maybe what they did 2020, where he was coming off of an injury, we'll see. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, damn, he's hella good. One of the top corners in the league. Yeah. He's still getting older. Another injury. I do it, but it's not something that I feel like is moves the needle.
Richard Sherman? Just kidding.
I don't know.
I love Sherman. One because he can play outside in the slot. I think that's important. I think if you want your best cornerback to be able to match up with Cooper Kupp in the fourth quarter when you need him to, I think it's ideally. I know I don't always build your team around what you have in your division, but you got to face that guy at least 2 times a year. And I
think you should. Yeah. I think you should. And you play those teams twice a year. Yeah, you got to build your team around that to some extent. Yeah.
All right, let's talk wide receiver. Can you give me one wide receiver you think the Niners should get this offseason? Again, trade, free agency, draft, whatever.
Jakeem Grant. He brings a different element to what the 49ers already have. You have good, obviously Deebo, big time. You got Ayuk, he's coming along. As long as he doesn't start off slow and get in Kyle's weird doghouse, he'll be fine. But, and you still bring back guys like, Trent Sherfield, good special teamer, can play in the pinch. But who's that guy that can do what they wanted Travis Benjamin to do? Some people are like, man, why is Benjamin on the field? Well, he's on the field to kind of stretch the field. He's just not really that guy. Well, Jakeem Grant, he is. And he can do it vertically. He can do it with screens. And he's a terrific dynamic return man, which the 49ers are missing. So I think out of all the free agent guys, and even through the draft, that's one of the guys I would kind of prioritize trying to get on the team.
I'm with that. I almost feel like the main reason Benjamin was on the team is that Kyle Shanahan wasn't sure which quarterback he was going to go with this year. And, I mean, those plays are for Lance. When you have Benjamin on the field, he outruns Jimmy's arm. Jimmy can't get him the ball, nor does he even look to him.
So saw that against Cincinnati.
Yes. So I kind of didn't understand why Benjamin was on the team. It was almost like in case Trey Lance gets his shot, we'll actually have a deep threat for him. He needs a deep threat. Yeah. Right now, the deep threat on the team is Deebo, who's also the running back and the yards after the catch guy. So the other thing is, Kyle's had really good track records drafting these guys. 6th round, 7th round, late. I mean, I don't know if he was with whatever team when they drafted Benjamin, but Aldrick Robinson, he's done this before. So I'm not asking you if you know any late round picks that would fit, but I'm thinking the Niners probably have a few candidates of guys who are going to run a 4.3 in a couple of weeks. That'll be around like 5.8 and be around late.
Yeah, there's some guys. I mean, Reggie Roberson, he played at SMU. He was a guy that was a 21-yard per catch guy, and then he tore his ACL. And then he came back this year. He was averaging 12 yards per reception. So I don't know if it's the injury that slowed him down, maybe a change at quarterback. I have to look into that. But he was a speedy guy. Also, Calvin Austin out of Memphis. Speedy receiver, only about 5'8", but he was virtually unguardable at the Senior Bowl. I mean, he beat guys who tried to press him because he's really tiny, but they couldn't press him. They couldn't guard him out the slot. They couldn't guard him on the outside. You watch some of his clips and stuff from Memphis. He's returning plays, punts and stuff for touchdowns. So he brings a different dynamic element, and I think he'll run really fast, but potentially still be a day 3 guy 49ers should look into.
Boom. There you got it. All right. Let's talk quarterback. The Niners could get Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, but failing that, most likely they'll have Trey Lance and a backup who's not on the team yet. Who do you think the Niners should target to be Trey Lance's backup?
I think the obvious guy should be Tyrod Taylor. You know, he's a guy who's been with Anthony Lynn. He was with Anthony Lynn in Buffalo. Anthony Lynn goes to the Los Angeles Chargers. Who does he have a quarterback? He has Tyrod Taylor there as well. Anthony Lynn comes to the 49ers. I think understanding the offense, what he wants from a run scheme, being able to kind of talk, you know, through his experience to Trey Lance, I think that'll benefit Trey Lance a ton, and have a veteran backup who you can win games with. You know, a lot of people talk about Buffalo and they talk about Josh Allen and everything Josh Allen is. Josh Allen's first year, remember, they missed the playoffs. The year before, they were in the playoffs. They were a playoff team really with Tyrod Taylor. He had that team be a playoff team, then missed it the next year going to Josh Allen. I think having a guy like Tyrod, he's definitely more serviceable than a guy like Nick Mullins,
no doubt.
CJ Beathard.
Tyrod Taylor was 22-20 in Buffalo. 22-20. He was a winning quarterback. That's crazy.
Went to the playoffs.
Potential backup. Yes.
Yeah. So you get that caliber of guy.
Yeah.
I think he could play very well in stretches. And I think, he can give you as much. Not saying he's Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a better starter, but he can give you those stretches in a season to where there's not a lot of drop off if your starting quarterback goes down. You can still win games and stay afloat to have a playoff push.
I think Tyrod's a great name. Great. If they could get him, that'd be terrific. My only thing with him is just like durability, but he's a backup. You don't need him to last 17 games. You need to last like 3 if he comes in. So Tyrod's cool to me for a lot of reasons. It's probably who they'll end up getting. I have another name, though. He may be more expensive, but it might be worth the investment because he's younger. And if you sort of rehabilitate, maybe you could trade him for something down. Mitchell Trubisky. I'm not saying Trubisky's better than Tyrod. They're pretty similar. I mean, Tyrod, his career quarterback rating is 88. Mitchell's is 87. Trubisky's 29-21 in his career. I'm just saying one or the other would be fine. They both can move, but with Trubisky, maybe you could sort of have a reclamation project. Seems like Kyle Shanahan, coaches like that can do that. You know, just 1 year with Kyle Shanahan, someone looks at him totally differently. I think that's what Buffalo was trying to do. It didn't work out, but one of the two.
I think it did because I think Trubisky might be one of the hotter names on a free agent market at quarterback. And he did win games. I saw a stat that popped up. Since 2018, he's one of the top 5 winningest quarterbacks in the NFL. And
That's
I know
true.
QB wins is not a real stat, but he's
But
been a part of
yeah,
teams that, went to multiple playoffs. Whether he was the reason or not, he was a
right.
part of it. So I think from that standpoint, he is somebody that, if he went to Buffalo and got his mind right and understand, got a chance to sit back, relax, and see the field better, then he's someone who definitely could either be a good backup for the 49ers or potentially a starter elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you want like a bridge quarterback, why trade a second or a third for Jimmy Garoppolo and then also draft a quarterback that you're grooming to replace Jimmy Garoppolo when you could just sign Trubisky? You could
Right.
just sign Murray. You could just sign Winston. I mean, there's so many guys who are comparable to Jimmy Garoppolo, but easier to acquire. I guess that's not the topic here, but yeah, Trubisky, Tyrod. It seems like what about Mariota? What do you think of Mariota?
I've seen his name pop up a lot. Obviously, I think his skill set will make it to where it's not a totally different stylistic quarterback if the 49ers do. I mean, obviously they go with Trey Lance, and you want somebody to be able to play behind him that's similar style. I would say it's him in the sense of just dynamic ability. And I like little stretches of what it looked like with him playing against Oakland. There was one game where he came in and had to play like the second half, and he looked solid. And I know it had a lot of people like, damn. I think it might have been a year before. I don't know if it was this past year, but
yeah. All right. Jimmy Garoppolo topic. What is the team most likely to trade for him? I think most people think it's Pittsburgh. I have a lot of respect for Pittsburgh guys as an organization. I just can't see them doing this. But maybe it is. I don't know. What do you think, man?
I think Washington Commanders. When you look at their situation and Ron Rivera at coach, excuse me.
Yeah.
He's in the third year. Now the pressure is on to win and win now. You got to make a playoff run if you have any opportunity of kind of keeping your job. So I think the Commanders make a ton of sense. Maybe not their first round pick. I've seen, thrown around, but potentially, a day 2 type pick to land a quarterback that can help you win games and potentially go to the playoffs. I think it makes a lot of sense for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm thinking a team that trades for Jimmy Garoppolo is gonna decide I don't want to draft a quarterback this year. I don't think you can do both because that's at least two draft picks that you're dedicating to quarterbacks in the same draft. That's rich. So Washington can say we have Taylor Heineke. We don't necessarily want to draft a quarterback in round 1 or round 2 this year because they're at 11. You shouldn't draft a quarterback there. That's too high.
No.
In the second round, and maybe you don't like Sam Howell or whatever. Like whatever, we'll just get Jimmy. That's possible. Another team.
Would you rather, if you're a team, and just hypothetically speaking, I'm pretty sure you'd rather say, you know what, at pick 11, I'm going to go Derek Stingley or Sauce Gardner, or an edge rusher because this is a deep edge rusher class. I'm going to go with one of these more, or let's say Washington, they need a receiver opposite Terry McLaurin. All right, we're going to go with, I don't know, any of these top receivers. Chris Olave or Treylon Burks. And then with my second round pick, I get Jimmy Garoppolo. I think your team is better for that than especially reaching for a quarterback at pick 11.
Yeah, what I would do though is not trade for Jimmy. I would just draft whatever quarterback's available with the 50th pick in round 2. That's
if you're Washington, remember they can't afford a lot. Ron Rivera is out of here if they have a losing season.
What I would do is I would sign the starter. It would be Winston, Trubisky, and I know like you feel, well, if we have Jimmy, we're gonna win because I don't believe that Jimmy's a special winner. I think he's brittle, and if you trade for him, he's gonna be hurt probably by week 5, and you're gonna be back on the hot seat, and you're gonna say, man, that plan seemed so good until Jimmy got hurt. I'm just saying, sign the freaking bridge quarterback, draft whoever's available with the 50th pick in round 2. I mean, unless you really hate Carson Strong or Sam Howell or whoever those guys are, it seems like they're decent prospects, but not necessarily franchise guys.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is a all-in type situation. Is like you got to win. I'm not risking the future of my coaching job on a rookie. I'd rather risk it on the health of Jimmy Garoppolo because if he does stay healthy, I know I potentially will be in the playoffs as opposed to a rookie quarterback, which probably was the thought process with Kyle Shanahan last year, not going with the rookie, staying with Jimmy, who Kyle was on the verge of one winning season in 5 years. Coaches don't want that.
Let me give you 2 more teams that I think might fit. I don't think Pittsburgh would do this, although I've heard a lot of people say they're a perfect fit. Houston has Davis Mills. They may never have looked at him as their starter, even though I like Davis Mills. Maybe they feel if they can't work it out with Deshaun Watson, bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. that's a starting quarterback, and they can give Davis Mills time to be, because he's not ready. He's not ready yet. Or Philly. I've heard Philly's interested, and it makes sense because maybe they feel Jalen Hurts isn't ready, and they'd like to, I have no idea, but it seems like it's got to be a team that's saying we're not drafting a quarterback this year. We don't like this crop. We're going to pass on it entirely. But I think that's a risky plan, man. That's what Indianapolis and Carolina tried last year, and it didn't work for either one. Now let's get Sam Darnold. Oh yeah,
Right.
You should have just gotten freaking Kyle Trask or anyone other than that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's not a strong class to have to draft a quarterback. If any of them could risk having a down year, it's probably Pittsburgh. I mean, they've never had a losing season with Mike Tomlin, so he at the very least has a little leeway, or he'll get the benefit of the doubt that he'll get the most out of whatever he has at quarterback and still have a solid season.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing with Pittsburgh, everyone's like, well, Jimmy will take them to the playoffs. They get to the playoffs regardless. They get to the playoffs with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph. They need someone to take them the next step. And I don't think Jimmy's ready, man. Maybe next year, but I don't think Jimmy's ready. Scotty says A-Rod bankrupt in Green Bay, so PSJ to Denver. Porn star Jimmy to Denver, says Scotty.
Denver doesn't want him. They don't think that I listened to Benjamin Albright, and he's pretty tapped in with everything that goes on with the Broncos. Said he's not enough of an upgrade over guys like Teddy Bridgewater to trade assets to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Correct. Irfan says, thoughts on Florio saying that Lynch is a possibility to replace Aikman on Fox. I didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear it either.
But
there have been those talks about Lynch going back to TV, and then when he got asked about it in the press conference, he started acting all weird and touching his leg or messing with stuff all around, and he looked a little flustered. So I don't know.
He did, right? He said, opportunities come up all the time. He said, no, from time to time, opportunities are presented, Lynch said. So hold on. This is Florio's report. With Troy Aikman leaving Fox for ESPN, Fox will need a new number one analyst. It also may need a new number one play-by-play announcer if Joe Buck finagles a 1 year, whatever. Andrew Marchand of the New York Post has a list of potential candidates to replace Aikman. They include an internal candidate, current number 2 Fox analyst Greg Olson, and several folks who don't work for Fox. Marchand lists Rams coach Sean McVay, former Saints coach Sean Payton, former Saints quarterback Drew Brees, and former Fox broadcast and Niners GM John Lynch. Man, that seems like a pretty lucrative, competitive job. Sean McVay might retire. How much money are they going to pay? Is it like $10 million a year just to pontificate? I want that job. What about us? How about us? Damn. I want that.
So Aikman, what is he going to do? Monday Night Football?
Nah, he would be like him, and he would do like the Sunday games. He would be him and Joe Buck or whatever.
But they said for ESPN.
Did they? They said for Fox because Aikman left.
No, I'm saying Aikman. No, I'm saying what is Aikman doing?
Oh yeah, I guess Aikman's going to do ESPN. I mean, excuse me. I guess it would be Monday Night Football, right?
Oh wow.
It would be. Yeah. Which is weird because I find him so boring.
They must be giving him the bag. He's been with Fox for a long time.
So many Cowboy fans that are stuck in the 90s. When I flew into that airport, there was just so many pictures of Emmitt Smith everywhere. It's like, man, it's 1996 in Dallas all the time. Crazy. I don't know. You think Lynch would? I mean, he's got a good thing going here, but
I mean, he's kind of scratched that itch to want to be in that competitive field. I could see him being like, you know what, Adam Peters, it's all yours. I'm going back to TV where, I get to just watch a little bit of film on the team, study a little bit of what they're doing, and talk about it on fly out on the weekend. Yeah, get to sit at home with my family and make more money.
San Diego, where his family is. Yeah, it'd be hard.
I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, if Sean McVay is considering like turning away from the Rams for this job, it must be a very prestigious, lucrative job. I could see Lynch making the same, at least thinking about. I mean, how could you, if it's $10 million, $12 million, how could you not think about it? But you know what? I can't see him being the top candidate. I mean, he's good, but if I were Fox, I'd rather have Sean McVay, Drew Brees. Those are bigger names than John Lynch.
And fresh names too. John Lynch did it for years, and everybody loved him doing it. Yeah. I think he was the number 2 guy behind Aikman.
Yeah, he was. He was. Well, very interesting. I don't think this would hurt the Niners empire, the Niners dynasty, if they lost John Lynch. I don't know.
No, I do think he's been a good face
Ace.
for the
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
mouthpiece. He's done that well.
Desmond says, y'all, I appreciate both of you gents. Y'all keep pushing out the fire content. Let's go Niners. Dude's probably from Louisiana. Thank you. Trade Jimmy for a Klondike bar. I don't like Klondike bars.
I don't either. Is that the coconut and all that in there?
It's just like a generic ass freaking ice
Oh
cream.
wait, no, it's the ice cream. No, Klondike bars are good.
It's not bad, but it's like, what would you do for one? I pay like 75
What would
cents.
you do?
Probably.
Yeah,
I pay 150 maybe. My PSD won't stop till I see Jimmy is gone. Can we get Marlon Mack? Could we get Marlon Mack? Yeah, you could probably get any running back you wanted. I don't know if you should.
Really move the needle. He's cool though. Yeah. I like Marlon Mack.
Yeah, did you guys see Deebo's tweet this morning? Sounds like he might be struggling a little bit with his mental health. No, let's check it out. Really?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Deebo like tweets quotes and stuff. Sometimes it's hard to tell if he's expressing himself or just. But hold on, let's see. If your mental is not strong, you won't last in this profession. So much weight on your shoulders, family performing well, training the right way, literally everything. God continue to watch over me. Whew. You know what that sounds like to me? The stress of a guy who's about to get the bag but hasn't got it yet.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a lot of pressure on these athletes, man, and people pulling at them left and right and learning how to say no to guys. True. I know my big cousin Tyrone Gross, when he was in the league with the San Diego Chargers back then.
Yep.
You know, he would tell some of the family members like, you got one thing.
Yeah, fair.
You know,
I'm not gonna be making this money my whole life. Fair.
Yeah, you got one thing. That's it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, everyone's already counting Deebo's money already. He's going to get $100 million. How many family members say, hey, man, I need this, I need that? I haven't gotten the check yet. I could tear my ACL taking out the garbage tomorrow. Like, leave me alone. It must be stressful.
It's got to be. I mean, it's stressful for me at home. My wife is going through nursing school. So just paying for everything, like anytime you want something, anytime you need something, anytime I got to turn around, put gas in your car and my car. And, that I'm not stressed, but, it does like, damn, more money going out.
Yeah, absolutely. That Niner guy says Lynch had a plan if he got fired, which was looking very possible at 3-5. True, because it wasn't going to be Kyle. It was going to be someone else, probably Lynch. Niners have overplayed their hand with PSJ. No GM is making the Wentz trade. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone's like, hey, man, look what Wentz went for last year. Look what Darnold went for last year. Those deals blew up in the team's faces. I don't think any team's being like, let's do that.
But you see teams do it every year. They get desperate for quarterbacks every year. So it's just what the market is, what the market calls for. If you want a quarterback that you feel like potentially could help, you're going to do it. And I think Jimmy has had more success than those quarterbacks. Yeah. They can pull that card regardless of if he's the reason or not. Jimmy's like, hell, last 2 years I started, we went to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. What did Darnold and Wentz ever do?
That's true. So what Jimmy's going to do is he's really, really, really going to disappoint his next team in ways that Darnold and Wentz never could. All right, last topic. I'm sorry. Last topic. I got to get this snarky shit out before he's off the team. Like, it's just right. Okay. The free agent with the most leverage over the 49ers, they have a ton of free agents. And a lot of them, they're probably going to say, goodbye, we'll replace you. But if there's one guy that the Niners have to really, really, really work hard to bring back, who do you think it is?
Laken Tomlinson.
I totally agree. Why?
Because you're struggling at the center position, trying to figure out, is Matt going to retire? Is he not? The right guard position, you don't really like Brunskill, but Aaron Banks isn't ready to take over. He didn't even play, wasn't active a lot of times. What's going on at that position? Right tackle, McGlinchey tore his quad off of his entire bone. So you don't know. So it's like you can't create another hole on the offensive line. So if there's anyone that has any type of real hold or over the organization in the sense of you have to sign me, you need me, is Laken Tomlinson.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like they probably saw this coming and didn't want to be in a position where Laken held all the cards. That's why they probably drafted Aaron Banks instead of Asante Samuel Jr. They saw this coming. They're thinking, man, he's going to be 30. He's going to be really freaking expensive. And maybe we want options. Well, unless they know something about Aaron Banks that we don't, I don't think he's ready. So I think Laken Tomlinson's like, I feel pretty good about
what does it mean to be ready?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I saw Trey Lance play a little bit last year. I was impressed. I didn't see anything from Aaron Banks last year. I'm thinking.
And I didn't like Aaron Banks on film coming out of college. I thought they lied to us about saying he moves well for a big guy. I saw the complete opposite on film.
Yeah, that wasn't a scouting report at all. So, also, they haven't shown any ability to draft and develop offensive linemen. None, unless we're supposed to believe that they really like Jalen Moore or something. So I think if they don't sign Laken Tomlinson, they're going to have to sign someone else who's either worse than him or more expensive than him. And why would you do that? Like everyone, you give the Bob McKittrick Award to Laken Tomlinson every freaking year as the best offensive lineman on your team, even though Trent Williams is on the team. Keep him. Keep him. I don't think they can afford to let him go, even though he's not an elite guard by any stretch. He's good, though. Yeah. He's good.
He's good.
He's good. Hey, thanks for the $2. Love you, Grant. Everyone be cautious if Grant does a fantasy football edition. I would never do fantasy football. I'm terrible at fantasy. He's faithful to the end. Grant's future Monday Night Football broadcast team, Trubisky, Trask, Mully. I love it. Be blessed. Oof. Those are all guys I should probably stop scouting quarterbacks. It's going to follow me around forever. Jacob says, if the hospital right now and this, whoa, damn, are you all right, Jake? Whoa, in the hospital right now, and this is sure making life better for sure. Appreciate. Damn, Jacob. Sorry, you were just on the show yesterday. Hope everything's all right, man. Damn, man.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Smack Jones says, got to bring back Big Lake. We need a healthy O-line with Lance the right side. Already trashed. Can't afford to lose above average. Yeah, and I'm thinking like a guy like DJ Jones, maybe just as good as Laken Tomlinson, but has zero leverage. Because the Niners know that that Chris Sarek or however you pronounce his name can pretty much work magic.
And right? You could just say, you know what? Well, if Kinlaw can play, we'll make Kinlaw be our D tackle, and Armstead can play 3-tech full time, and boom, problem solved for a 2-down guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Niners don't need. Everyone's saying the Niners need to draft an edge rusher high. Fair. I mean, you can't get enough. But with Nick Bosa on one side, and then you have Chris Kasarek's group of misfits that no one else can make work, but under him, they're freaking relentless. I don't know. What I would do if I were John Lynch, I would just say, Chris, just tell me 5 defensive linemen you like, and I'll just get whoever you want. I totally trust you. Whoever you like, I got it. When the Niners signed Charles Menehu, was like, who the hell is that? I'm like, oh, Chris Kasarek liked him. All right, he's going to be good. Give him 4 weeks. Give him 4 weeks.
And he said, give him a year in his defense. He said, give him a year in his defense, and he's going to be.
He's going to be really good. I mean, look what happened to Samson Ebukam. Early on, it was like, man, this guy is terrible. By then, it was like, they can't stop this guy. I totally trust Chris Kasarek. Whoever he likes, good, go for him. Sorry, DJ Jones. Sorry, Arden Key. Because with Arden Key, it's like, man, you're really important. You've developed into this cog for us. I'm sure they're thinking we can get the next Arden Key. We can do this again. You'll go somewhere. They'll overpay. You won't produce. You'll come right back.
Feels like a Kerry Hyder situation again.
Yeah.
And I like Hyder. I thought he was good. Had a good motor. Obviously, he was productive, 8 sacks. But Key seems like similar, where if teams are kind of price you out, then yeah, you are better off just kind of letting them walk.
Tony says, Grant, you're the light in this bleak world. That sounds like such a Willy Wonka weary thing to say. I know things are getting a little bleak out here, but let's hope for the best. Thanks, Croc. This was a fun show. I know you've been streaming all day. Appreciate you.
I'm good. Yeah. Appreciate you for having me on.
Of course. I'll be back later with Jason Aponte. Have a good day, everyone.